Okay, so you've handed us this really interesting stack of research forecasts, analysis, all focused on the Gemini profile looking at October 2025. And our job today, basically cut through all that noise, pull out the core stuff. We're looking at career, money, love, health, getting you, the learner, those key nuggets so you don't get, swamped by all the possibilities.
Right. And if you boil it all down, what the findings are showing is, well, October isn't like a smooth path. It's more like a series of significant shifts. It's looking like a really high energy month, packed with new ideas, some genuinely surprising turns, especially at work, and maybe a few, let's say, crucial money lessons. The whole month really demands growth, but it also really hinges on being flexible and maybe surprisingly, staying focused.
Okay, wow. Sounds like you need both a roadmap and maybe a crash helmet. So let's dig into that general vibe first. Is it like a mad dash or more of a strategic game? What's the overall feel for October?
It's definitely about dynamic movement, but it's moving with intention. Sure. The main feel is one of rapid gathering ideas, connections, projects. But the big catch is you can't go into it with really rigid plans. If you try to stick too hard to what you thought you'd be doing, you might miss these like bigger, better chances that just pop up. Okay. Think of it as needing to grab the growth, but only if you're ready to pivot, like instantly.
Got it. Growth driven by radical flexibility. I like that framing. Okay, so let's turn to what looks like the main event this month, career. The research here looks, incredibly bright, almost too bright. What specific wins should you be bracing for?
Yeah, this really looks like a peak time for getting noticed professionally. We're seeing signs of not just, new projects, but significant ones. High visibility stuff, the kind that puts you right in front of the important people. It's not just busy work, it feels like real advancement. And the notes really stress that your natural strengths are the key. Specifically, Gemini's shining through their communication skills like nailing presentations, sorting out deals, making sense of complicated stuff for others. And second, just pure creativity. You're seen as the one with the fresh ideas when everyone else is stuck. And this recognition seems tangible, maybe higher status, maybe even a formal offer on the table.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Because professional success, especially driven by creativity, that often means exploring, right? Bouncing between ideas. But isn't the classic Gemini challenge, scattering energy? If communication and creativity are the superpowers, doesn't exploring kind of involve that scattering? How does the forecast suggest you harness that without, killing the creative vibe?
That's the absolute key difference the findings point to. Exploration, good. But execution, that needs discipline. The warning isn't really against having lots of ideas. It's against pouring serious time and resources into too many projects at the same time. You need the flexibility to start, a dozen creative explorations, sure. But then the discipline to be ruthless and pick only, say, 2 or 3 to actually finish properly.
Oh, okay.
The specific risk mentioned is overcommitting. Trying to hit competing deadlines and ending up with 2 half-baked things instead of one really polished success. The advice: delegate or put off anything that doesn't play to those core communication and creative strengths. If it's high profile and creative, go for it. If it's just tedious admin, find a way around it. Otherwise, it just drains the energy you need for the big wins.
Right. That switch from creative exploring to disciplined doing is the real pivot point for career success in October then. So this ruthless focus needed for work, does that same kind of discipline apply when we look at money this month?
It does, yeah. But in a totally different context. Finances show this really clear duality, like a tightrope walk for the whole month. On one hand, there's really good potential for money coming in. The findings suggest maybe bonuses, maybe a side project paying off, or even financial help from somewhere unexpected. Perhaps completing one of those big career projects directly leads to a financial boost.
Okay, that sounds promising.
But, and it's a big but, this positive flow comes with a really strong specific warning. This is not the month to be reckless. The research suggests the risk isn't necessarily like risky investments, which can trap others. For the learner persona, it's more about impulsively investing in new tools.
Ah, yes, the classic Gemini trap. Ooh, I need the latest software, or I gotta get that new online course because it connects to the shiny new work opportunity.
Exactly that. If that extra money comes in and immediately goes out on, say, expensive gadgets, new subscriptions you haven't thought through, or pouring cash into a brand new hobby tied to your career excitement, well, that's where it backfires. You could easily get to the end of the month and realize, you spent most of the gain on stuff that loses value fast or subscriptions you don't even use. The key is managing that psychological urge to instantly resource every single new idea.
So it really boils down to disciplined saving, smart spending, and definitely hitting the brakes on big impulse buys tied to that momentary buzz. Financial balance is absolutely critical here.
Okay, let's pivot again, away from the numbers, into the emotional side. What does this super busy, high-stakes month mean for relationships? The forecast mentions fun and passionate. Relationships definitely seem to be buzzing, yeah. Lots of positive energy there. For singles, October really cranks up the magnetism dial. You'll likely find people are just really drawn to your chatty, witty vibe. It's a great time for getting out there, meeting people, starting exciting new connections. Honestly, the energy you're putting out from doing well at work probably makes you seem more attractive anyway.
Makes sense.
For couples, yeah, there's definite excitement, passion, a real spark. But the research flags a clear pressure point, something you need to actively manage. The partner's need for attention. And it's not just about clocking hours together, it's about quality attention, real presence.
And right there is where the clash with the career forecast seems so obvious, isn't it? If you're meant to be ruthlessly focused on work projects and also super disciplined with money, I mean, how on earth are you supposed to make sure your partner doesn't feel like they're, way down the priority list? It sounds like a zero-sum game for time and energy.
It can feel like one, absolutely. But the findings suggest it only becomes zero-sum if the attention isn't consciously planned. Just like you have to budget money, the idea is you have to budget or allocate dedicated time and mental space for your main relationships.
Okay, like scheduling date night.
Exactly, but maybe even more deliberately. If you're going to be hyper-focused at work during work time, you need to be just as focused on your relationship when you're not working. The specific advice points towards setting digital boundaries like phone away and scheduling quality time that's genuinely protected. No interruptions from work messages or financial spreadsheets. The risk isn't necessarily a huge fight, but more that slow creep of neglect, where your partner starts to feel a bit left out while you're caught up in all your own exciting stuff. They need to feel part of your success, or at least feel seen while all this is going on.
That makes a lot of sense. Which brings us squarely to the final and maybe most critical piece, health. All this juggling, this high-stakes activity, the discipline balancing act, it's honestly exhausting just talking about it. Given that Geminis are often described as always running around, what's the verdict on energy levels and that ever-present risk of burnout in October?
Well, energy levels probably start high, fueled by the excitement of the new projects. You feel like you can manage it all. But the risk of hitting that wall, actual burnout, is much, much higher this month, precisely because everything feels so compelling. It's easy to mistake that buzz for having endless physical energy.
And it's not endless.
Definitely not. The sources are pretty direct here. If you don't consciously, deliberately slow down, burnout isn't just possible, it's practically guaranteed. And for the learner persona, this often shows up as severe information fatigue. Like suddenly you just can't process anything, can't communicate clearly, can't focus, which ironically completely undermines the career success you've been working for.
That inability to process info is the ultimate nightmare for the learner.
Okay, so what are the specific actionable health tips here beyond just get more sleep?
We pulled out 3 things that seem non-negotiable based on the sources. First, actually schedule your rest. Treat downtime like mandatory meetings you cannot move. Put it in the calendar. Seriously.
Okay.
Second, fuel your body properly. This kind of intensity needs sustained energy. That means actual planned meals, not just grabbing junk food between calls or meetings. And third, there's an explicit instruction to unplug.
Unplug, like really unplug.
Really unplug means dedicated digital detox time. Hours where the phone is off, emails are closed, notifications are silenced. There's a strong suggestion to maybe try a rule like, if it can't be handled between, say, 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., it waits. It has to wait until the next day. That seems to be the only way to protect your mental energy when work opportunities are practically screaming for attention 24/7. That's almost like giving yourself permission to step away, isn't it? Which feels vital. Okay, so if we pull all these threads together now, the successful but demanding career, the tricky financial balance, the fun but attention-needing relationships, and this high risk of information burnout, what's the sort of overarching message for you, the listener, this October?
The overall message is definitely high reward, but also high risk. The kind of instruction manual seems clear.
Yeah.
Use your communication skills to shine at work, yes. Keep a really tight grip on finances to make sure you actually benefit from any gains. be present and passionate in your relationships, and fiercely, like really fiercely, guard your downtime to stop yourself from crashing. October looks like a pivotal month, a real turning point perhaps, but it demands conscious, strategic effort on basically all fronts.
And the ultimate promise, reading between the lines of the research, seems to be that if you can master this internal focus, keep that strategic balance across all these competing demands, October really could open significant new doors, not just new projects, but maybe establishing a whole new, more sustainable way of operating long term.
Exactly. And that sustainability, that relies entirely on setting those boundaries now. So if the absolute key to success this month is focus when everything around you is exciting and tempting career, demanding it, finances, setting traps around it, love needing it, maybe the question to leave you with is this: which single area of your life right now, career, money, or relationships, needs the most conscious, active, and immediate discipline from you to set and enforce the boundaries you need for balance? Where does your attention most easily get scattered? Thinking about that might be the first step.
That is definitely the crucial point to chew on as you head into a month that sounds, well, both demanding and potentially incredibly rewarding. Thank you for going on this deep dive with us today. You should now have the synthesized insights you need to navigate this complex forecast. Go forth, try to be disciplined, stay balanced, and definitely stay curious. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.